Hey guys, this is Stu from Stuart Scale Models, and this is my third update on my entry into the Warren Blanch Tribute Buddy build, which is going to be the V1 launch ramp site, which I'm depicting here. And as you can see, we've come on a little bit more since my last update. I've actually got the hills, well, the banks either side of the launch ramp virtually built. I mean, they're not going to look like this once the actual diorama's finished. Obviously, I'm going to overlay it with some cellular clay or filler of some kind, just to basically smooth it out, as it were. And I've just roughly placed where I'm going to put the trees. Now, admittedly, at first I was a little bit sceptical about the size and the scale compared to 1/48. But to be honest with you guys, they do look rather good, and I'm very pleased with the initial sort of result, as it were, because I mean, what I'm trying to do here is depict a launch ramp which was concealed, and they had to conceal them from the air anyway. So it does look rather good, and I'm very happy with the way the trees actually sit. So I am going to be using these. They are HO00 scale, 16 centimeters, which I suppose it really is 1/72 really, but it is what it is, guys. You know, it just adds to the dio, and I am trying to depict it in the height of summer, as it were, which is when these were used. The ramp itself, I've got to still add the ribs down the side of the base of the actual ramp, to give it that little bit more authenticity. And as I say, unfortunately I haven't got the V1 in its base coat, but that will be rectified fairly soon. And then with the ramp, I've actually got some camouflage netting which I got from Fields of Glory Models, which I ordered 4 packs of, and this is the stuff, as you can see here, because a lot of them were actually draped in camouflage netting, which you'll see on one of my research pictures in a minute. And that was fairly cheap. It was only about, what, $2.75 a packet. So I think, you know, I've done pretty well there, to be honest with you guys. So I'll be adding that to the ramp nearer the end of this build. As I say, I've just got a bit more progress to do. Now, the reason I've done this is because I've actually got a book here. Now, one of the YouTube modelers has already actually done a book in book review, as it were, and I treated myself to this one not so long ago. It's AK's FAQ dioramas book, and if you want it is quite expensive. But, you know, it takes you through loads and loads of tips on dioramas, how to do trees, etc. So I'm really using this as a reference source for this diorama, really. So, yeah, it's going to come in pretty handy. It is around about the 60 plus mark. But it's well worth having in your reference library if you can get hold of one. It really is. So really, this is going to be a big help for this dio. I'm not going to put any figures in it because obviously it's as though it's on the initial stages of being launched. So there you go. But as I say, I've been doing a lot of research on this recently, and I've got some pictures on my tablet here. Right, let's have a look. I'll just get it back. And as you see in this picture, you can see that the ramp is actually draped in camouflage netting, which is what I'm going to try and depict on the diorama that I'm doing. Now, I'm sorry if the camera is a little shaky, but I've not holded it on the camera stand because obviously this dia base, as you can see here, is a bit of a size, so trying to mount that and get it filmed correctly is going to be a bit tricky. So, you know, you're going to have to bear with me on this, guys. But as I say, you've got stacks of pictures on here, which I actually got on Google. This is an authentic period photograph, and as I say, you can see with the actual ramp, it's draped in camouflage netting so that it can be seen from the air. Didn't do much good because it was still caught. I've got a few more here which I've been using, and if you notice on this one, which is what I'm actually basing my diorama on, This one's actually got ribs along the side of the actual ramp. Now I will actually depict this with some strips of sprue, which I've got from, I think, Green Valley, I think, yeah. Sorry about the noise in the background. And this is actually how one of the ramps actually looked. It used to have a concrete base either side. They were actually getting from the main plant. They came obviously folded, the wings, and they disassemble it and then put it onto the ramp ready for launching. So there you go. Let's try and shrink this picture a bit more. Come on. Here's another one taken of a V1 site in France. And this is one at the Peenemünde Museum, I think you'll find. And this is another one at the museum. And again, this is the one I'm basing mine on, although I'm using the banks a little bit higher to give it more of an authentic look. As I say, here we go. You've got tons and tons of reference pictures on here that you can use at your disposal. And in fact, this is one of a guy who's done a build of a V1 site, which absolutely looks awesome. So, yeah, and this one was of a ramp again in France, on the Pas de Calais sector, where they used to have the ramp along the top here, and it used to be launched from there. Let's try and get it back and see if there's any more. Again, this is the one that I'm basing my one on. And this is a bombed site of a V1 ramp, obviously after the Allies had actually liberated it. This is a site in France. Again, the one I'm basing my one on. Another one in the museum. As I say, there is tons, and absolute tons, of reference material on the V1. Which is really handy. Again, this is another bomb site, as you can see here, and obviously draped in camouflage netting as well. Oh, sorry about the shaky camera. This is another site. I don't know if this was in the Pas de Calais region. It might have been. This is I think this one was at Peenemünde as well. But again, you've got an idea about how it was all set up, etc. There's another model of a ramp, as you can see here. Someone has built. Sorry, I didn't do that. Yeah, Yeoman Models. That's another one who does it. Yeah, as I say, it's just absolute. And this is the one I've actually got from Sarissa Precision Limited. So if you want to get hold of one, they're your best source, actually. So there you go, and there we go, more and more V1 sites. And as I say, there's a wealth of information on here about the V1. This one looks absolutely superb. He's really caught this one. I mean, he's even got the launching mechanism with it as well. Super. So that, I would imagine that was all scratch built as well. So yeah. So there you go, there is plenty of information. This was actually the mechanism that used to fire the V1 up the ramp, as it were. And this is of remains of a V1 ramp site. So yeah, say you've got scores and scores of pictures, information. I think this is the one that's based at Duxford, really cool. And yeah, there's plenty there to sort of refer to, really. There you go. So we've been running for about 9 minutes. I'm going to stop waffling here. I am going to get this one, concentrate on this one a bit. I mean, admittedly, I've got a build that I've got coming up for my dad, because obviously it's going to be 10 years this August since he passed away, and that's going to be this little beauty, which I'm going to be starting on very soon. So I'll be running that project alongside the V1. I am in still two minds about the 75th anniversary Tiger 1 build, which Adam Mann just recently announced. I would ideally like to do a Tiger, but I'm also committed to Len Sparvex, that's Chance and North Wales World War I group build, which I'm going to do an entry on, but it will be a revised entry, so I shall tell you more about that on my channel update. So there you go. That's it for now, guys, as regards the Warren Blanch tribute buddy build. I hope you like what you see. I'm getting there, I think. I've got an idea of how I want this to sort of turn out, and I'll keep you further updates as I go along. Anyway, keep up the good builds out there, guys. You're doing some superb work. I am still around about a week behind, so bear with me on that. But keep up the good work like you all do, guys. You're an absolute inspiration. You're certainly inspiring me, I can tell you that much. So keep up the good work, guys. And I really, really love this hobby. Anyway, until the next time, get kit crazy, happy modelling, and I'll speak to you soon.